Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Bank of the West is offering the 1% for the Planet checking account. It gives back to the planet at no cost to you, and there's no monthly service charge with any deposit per statement. Only from Bank of the West. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
The Bachelorette and Friends. From first love to happy ever after.
What's that?
From dating to dick pics.
Oh my.
Oh no! The Bachelorette and Friends. Oh, I love a good dick.
This podcast contains sexual references, coarse language, and adult themes from the beginning and throughout. It is not recommended for listeners under the age of 15.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Bachelorette and Friends. I'm your host, Carla Anita Mattiazzo. And today's guest is from Season 5, MAFS, Married at First Sight. Telv Williams, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Very excited.
Thanks for coming
we finally
on,
got
Dawn.
here.
So before we get into the first crushes to happy ever after, can you tell me and our listeners why you chose to apply for Married at First Sight?
It kind of happened almost by accident, really. I guess I'd been back at work for about a week, and I had been on a holiday for 6 weeks over in Europe, and I got, the whole post-holiday blues thing. I was at work. I'm like, I'm just over this. I kind of want to do something a bit different. And then my mate had tagged me in, there's a page called Mining Mayhem, and it was like the application process for Married at First Sight. And my mate tagged me and goes, you won't do this? And I'm like, obviously I will. So, yeah, I just jumped on. I applied and it was actually 2 days after the cutoff date. So I didn't think it was going to go through. But I applied and they called me the next day, and I got married a lot quicker than everybody else. So everyone had been taking months to do it. And I was just like, they rolled me straight into it pretty much. I think it was 2 weeks.
Wow.
Straight into it. Yeah. So it was pretty fast moving. So once I applied, that was it. It was happening.
So you didn't really have much time to process what the fuck am I doing?
No, I literally, it was, they said, oh yeah, do you want to do the show? And I was like, oh fuck, yeah, I guess so. And then no, and I was like, I've applied now, haven't I? So I was like, yeah, all right. But then I had to in order to go on it, I had to either quit my job because they didn't want me to have 3 months off, obviously, and I was just like, oh god. So do I want to quit a job because I was working for FMG at the time. It was a pretty good job, and I was like, stuff it. This is like a once in a lifetime opportunity where I can do a reality show. And I didn't realize how popular it was because I'd never actually watched it.
Sure.
And I actually remember hearing about it and thinking the concept was actually quite terrible towards the gay community, because I thought, well, this was back before they allowed gay marriage. And I was thinking, why can two strangers get married, but gay people who are actually in love can't? And it sort of pissed me off. So I was like, I didn't really do it. But then obviously when I applied and I got on, I actually called my sister because she's lesbian. And I was like, do you mind if I go on this show? Because I didn't want to offend her because, obviously that whole situation might have upset her a little bit. And she's like, what? I fucking love that show. No, go on it. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So I was like, all right, I'll go on it and stuff it. Yeah.
And the fact that you actually went, I'm going to call my sister because this might affect her. That's lovely.
Yeah. So I thought I would hit her up because I'm pretty close with my sisters and my whole family. So I sort of called them and asked them. My mum I didn't think my mum would like it either because she's a Christian woman. So I rang her up and I was like, what do you think about this? And she's like, oh my god, I love that show. And I'm like, what the hell? It just blew me away. I just was like, what the hell, mum? Like, we all have those guilty pleasures in life, don't we? So I guess Married at First Sight's one of those.
Right. So what was something that you didn't expect What did you learn from that experience, irrespective of what happened with you and your ex-wife? What did you learn, Telv?
Out of it, I took, because I'm, going into the show as a manly man, I don't really talk too much about my feelings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess going into it, I learned how to be empathetic a lot more and put myself in my partner's shoes. You don't really deal with the experts. It's more the producers that are coaching you through things, and they just help you. They help you put yourself in the other person's shoes, because you've always constantly got to talk about your feelings. And I guess coming out of it, I felt like I was definitely better off emotionally. Obviously, I managed to cry on the bloody thing all the time, but I guess talking about my feelings a lot, and it helped me do it a lot better. Because before the show, I was just like, I'll just bottle everything up. And I guess that's probably why I was so emotional in the show, because talking about things so much would upset me. And that was a completely different side to me that not even I'd seen. So when all my mates are watching it and my family, and they see me crying because I'm opening up, I was surprised at everybody, just because I don't normally do that. Normally sort of bottle things up. So it definitely bettered me as a person and as a partner.
So do you think that would have trickled down into the relationships with your family and friends and stuff, being able to be an effective communicator and an empath more than you were before?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's helped me big time, because I have fights with my brothers and my sisters all the time, and then we just don't talk for weeks on end, whereas now, you just block them on Facebook and then just not talk to them like a child. But that's why we're never going to get those friendversaries that come up with my sisters, because we always block each other. But I guess that's what it used to be like, we just go weeks without talking. But now I'm just like, hang on, let's talk this out, because instead of just texting, I hate you, I would call them. I'm like, oi, what's upset you? Why have I pissed you off? Like, I don't understand. And then you just need to hear. Like, this listening to people is like, it's just, I know it sounds crazy, but listening is like, it's so important, because if you can't hear somebody's problem, you're not going to be able to deal with it. So, I feel like it's bettered me big time, especially with my mum, because we have arguments and we just don't talk. But now we sort of just talk it out, and it's the argument's done in a day rather than lasting weeks.
Yeah, that's brilliant though, Telv. That's awesome that you've been able to take that from the show and move that positively into your life. I think that's a real gift, actually.
Yeah, no, it's definitely helped me a lot. Even now, like even 2 or 3 years on, I definitely still feel like it's something that's instilled in me now. Like talking and like just getting my feelings out there and heard helps. And it's good for your mental health as well. You don't want to bottle things up. So
correct. Has it changed your parenting style as well a little bit?
No, I don't think so. Not so much with parenting. I guess probably. I feel like I've always been a good dad. I just think I'm maternal more than most guys. I don't know why. I love being a parent. Like when I got asked the other day, what's your perfect job? And I'd said, I'd love to be a stay-at-home dad. Like I'd love to be a stay-at-home dad and just like look after the kids all day. Like that would be my perfect
that's beautiful,
job.
Telv. Yeah. That's lovely.
Yeah, because I don't get enough time with them because I'm FIFO. Like I'm always away, so I just cherish every minute I have with them. So
yeah, that's gorgeous. That's really good, and you don't hear that often. Men articulate that.
Yeah, no, I love my babies. Love them so much.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of The Catchalorette and Friends. Make sure you follow the podcast at The Catchalorette Pod on Instagram. And if you think your love journey is worth sharing with me on the podcast, send me an email, thecatchalorettepod@gmail.com, or slide into my Instagram DMs. Oh, and don't forget to give the podcast a review and tell all your motherfucking people to listen to the show. Now let's get back to this episode.
So to bring the listeners up to speed, this podcast is based on my award-winning cabaret show, The Catchalorette. There's always a catch, where I talk and sing about my first crush to happy ever after and everything in between. So let's start there, Telv, while my dogs are creating a nice background noise by barking. What was your first crush? Can you remember your first crush?
My first crush. Oh, I think it was Erin, my girl named Erin Johnson. If she listens to this, because we're still quite good friends. I think she was one of my first crushes back in about grade 6. Because I remember why, because she was one of the very first girls to develop boobs at school.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so all the boys really loved her in primary school. So yeah, that was my first.
All about
crush.
the rack. All about the rack.
Yeah. Still is.
Okay, so from there, did anything eventuate with her at primary school? Did you end up being...
No, we never even held hands or anything like that, because at that point it was like you're just holding hands, you're not even kissing at that point.
Yeah.
But no, I just had a crush on her. I remember buying her, like Valentine's Day, writing her a letter and giving her roses and chocolates and stuff, and yeah, that was my first one. But it was also my first little heartbreak too, when she got a boyfriend.
Oh.
It was in grade 6. yeah, I remember.
What happened after that? So I like to say that high school relationships are kind of like training wheel relationships, because you get to learn like boundaries, you get to learn what you like without any of the adult pressures of responsibility. So did you have any high school relationships?
Yeah, I had one. Oh, it was toxic as fuck. Like we were together, me and Sarah were together, we're together for 4 years. Like we were on and off for 4 years.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I learned so much about myself during that time. Like it was a pretty toxic relationship. That was the first and only time I've ever cheated on somebody. And yeah, she'd cheat on me, I would cheat on her, and we'd get back together and we'd break up. It was like just shit. It was really bad. And I guess, I was better off for it, because anytime I have a relationship, like when we break up, I'll always like critique it. And I'll always think, okay, why didn't it work out? And where did I go wrong? And what can I do better next time? I always have times in between relationships so I can deal with my own shit, because I don't want to carry on what I've got in one relationship and carry it on to the next one.
Yeah.
So I always just work on me after relationships. So coming out of that particular relationship, I was just like, well, the first thing I would never do again is cheat on somebody.
Yeah.
Because then you got to start lying about everything, and it's like, and that's obviously that's one thing I took out of it, because I think I was single for quite a few years after that.
Right.
Just sort of worked on myself. So, that was my first real like proper relationship, and it lasted about 4 years.
And that's such formative years. Like in high school, being with someone for 4 years, you're really learning who you are just as much as you would have been working out where your role was in that relationship. And it sounds like it was quite serious, Telv. Would I be wrong?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, we were. Definitely were serious. Very young and dumb, but I guess later on, because I think it was from 16 to about 20.
Fucking
together. Yeah, and you can think about when you were 16, and then they're two different people when you're 16. Correct. And then when you're 20. You're completely different. So you've just changed so much, and like would have good patches and would have rough patches and would have good. Because a lot of people don't know, I went to university in Geelong.
Right.
So we were living there together.
Yeah.
So we weren't living together. I was living in a house, she was, but we both went to the same university. And we sort of, once we got out of the small country town, because I grew up in Portland, which is actually about an hour from Mount Gambier.
Right.
Mount Gambier in SA, right near it's in Victoria, but it's right near the border there. So we lived there all our lives. And once we left there, we were thinking, maybe it would be a fresh start. So we'd live in a different town. And then, it didn't change. We were just there. She just used to cheat, so did I, and it was just like, it's time to sort of it was pretty toxic. So, but coming out of it, definitely just never do those things again. So,
What did you study at uni, Telv?
PE and psychology. So I was going to be a PE teacher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what made you change that path?
Being broke.
Yeah.
I was just like, I was on ab study, which is what, like fucking, I think $400 a fortnight or something.
Oh, geez.
And then it's not a lot. And then I was working in the kitchen in Melbourne. Like I'd sort of go, I'd do all my classes, I think Monday to Wednesday, and then the next few days I would work up in Melbourne and just like washing dishes in a Italian restaurant.
Yes.
And yeah, no, I was just getting too busy. I couldn't study, and then I was obviously just drinking and partying as you do as a uni student. And I was just like, and then obviously I was dealing with with the whole shit relationship, and
yes,
I just wasn't in a good spot. And then I ended up just fucking quitting uni, and just maybe I'll have a year off. Because the old football club back where I grew up in Portland, they offered me to play footy there for a job, and they gave me an apprenticeship, and that's how.
Oh wow!
Sort of so they said, come down and we'll get you a job, and then that job led into an apprenticeship, and then I was like, oh fuck, I'll just stay here. I won't go back to uni, because I went from like making like $200 a week on ab study or whatever it was to like $700 or $800 a week working, and I was only 18 or 19. So that kind of money for a young bloke was, I felt like I was the richest bloke in the world, and I was just like, I'm going to get a qualification anyway, so I might as well just piss uni right off.
That's amazing. I didn't know that you played footy. That's awesome, Telv.
Yeah, no, I played footy for my local club. I tried out in the TAC Cup as well for the North Ballarat Rebels. Played a handful of games there.
Brilliant.
In the TAC Cup. Yeah, it's all right.
That's really good,
Just
Matt.
too slow. Short and could run all day, but this was not quick.
So once that relationship broke up, what were the steps from there? I know you said that you take time in between relationships to analyse, assess, get yourself together and whatnot, which I think is fantastic. And I think, that's really important to analyse yourself and the other person once a relationship finishes, because then you are not taking, exactly like you said, 12, you're not taking that baggage from that relationship to somebody else and making somebody else pay for past mistakes of past relationships.
Exactly right, yeah.
Yeah, so from there, what was the next step? Did you just go out and date like a motherfucker, or what happened?
Yeah, I went through a bit of a hoe phase.
Yeah.
Not as big as a hoe phase I went after MAFS, but it was quite a hoe phase.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you got to get out there, you got to get out there and throw it around a bit. Because back then we didn't have Tinder or anything like that, so you actually had to do it like a real human being and walk up to somebody in a bar or fucking, ask for their number or something.
Yes.
Back then I think it was like, can I have your number? Well, just yeah. So I used to just just rock up to randoms. Can I have your number like a creep? Nah. Just talk to people normally, and I'm trying to think. Did I date? Yeah, no, I was just like, I did do a lot of dating in my small country town, but there you can't really sort of throw it around too much, because like there's only 10,000 people where I'm from. Yeah. So we used to go away. And do uni nights in Warrnambool, and that's where you sort of can meet people. Yeah.
And got filthy away from the hometown. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Was there anything that you learned about yourself or circumstances or anything like that from that stage of your life?
I guess I had trust issues pretty badly, obviously, because of being coming out of a toxic relationship. Yeah. And I guess I just was trying to work on them. But I remember just partying and being a normal 19, 20-year-old, just running amok with all my mates. And I wasn't really, I was pretty much anti-relationships. Like the last thing I wanted was a girlfriend. Like I was just not having, I was just so off having a girlfriend. So I guess, it was just a different version of myself.
Yeah, cool. So what was your next relationship then, and how did that start?
what was my next relation? Oh, fuck. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Geez, you're taking me down memory lane here, eh? I'm just getting all these memories. I'm just having a little giggle to myself. Well, I actually. Okay, so this is a little bit bad, but I'll tell you anyway. But
Okay.
I remember, so I broke up I was dating this girl, and we decided to go on this cruise with a group of friends.
Right.
And we're like, oh, she was like, I want to go on, because we'd broken up before it, right? It was a New Year's cruise through New Caledonia, Fiji, and Vanuatu. And it was for a couple of weeks. And I was with some other mates from Portland, and we'd broken up before we were going, and we were like, oh, what are we going to do? Like, do we just like try and sell it, or I was like, well, I'm definitely going. Yeah, I'm 100% going. And she's like, well, I want to go too. And I was like, well, we've got a room together. Like, how's that going to work? And we're like, oh, we'll just make it work. And I was like, fuck, whatever. So I'm going on this trip with my ex-girlfriend, right? And I'm on the boat, anyway. Already stupid, you know. So we had this huge fight on the first day. Oh my God. Anyway, so I'm like, and so then it was awkward because like she was hanging out with all my mates. And I'm like, oh, fuck this. Like, I'm on a ship with like 2,000 people. I'm just going to go find my own friends. And that I did. There was a big party on the deck that night. I ended up just getting drunk and like dancing. And I started dancing with this cute blonde girl on the dance floor. And ended up like hooking up with her, and she's like, we'll go back to your room. I'm like, we can't go back to my room. we cannot go back to my room. And then so then she's like, all right, we'll go back to mine. And they had bunks in there. It was like, we ended up hooking up. Yeah, we ended up hooking up, and we started hanging out. And like, I pretty much ended up just hanging out with her for the whole 2 weeks. She was over her friends. I couldn't hang out with my friends because my ex-girlfriend was with them. So then, yeah, we ended up just being together on this trip randomly, and we're like, yeah, just fell in love on the ship, like that. Right, it was like a proper holiday love story, and she lived on the Sunshine Coast, yeah. And then when it was finished, I was pretty sad because we'll probably never see each other again now. I don't think there was even Facebook back then. I think it was Bebo or something like that.
I don't even know.
Or MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace. Yeah. And I was like, oh, so we try and keep in contact through those things. And after the ship, and one day I said, I'll come up and visit you for a weekend. So I ended up just going up to visit her. And then, yeah, we're like, fucking what? We obviously like each other. How are we going to make this work? And she was like, look, I'll move to Portland. And I was like, really? And she's like, yep. She goes, I'm over the Sunshine Coast. So she come to Portland and moved with me. Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, no, she visited. She came down to visit because she was studying and she was on holiday. So she come down and stayed, I think, for a couple of weeks. And she was like, I love this place. I love your friends. Like, I would totally move here. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah. And then she ended up going home, getting all that stuff and just moving.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Her name was Kelsey. Yeah,
and how long was that for? How long did that last for, Telv?
I think it was 2.5 years altogether.
Yeah,
2.5 years there. I should have she just outgrew Portland and moved back to Singapore. She was expecting me to move with her, and I just didn't move with her. And then it was just like, well, what are we going to do? And then she's like, we ended up breaking up, which it's pretty sad. But yeah, I know I probably should have left in hindsight, but I guess just the way the things turned out.
So you possibly would think of her as maybe the one that got away, Telv?
I wouldn't say it got away. I've had a pretty happy life since. So, but she was a good egg, and she was a good girlfriend, very loyal.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So from there, what's the next step? Lead us down the track of Telv's love stories.
So then I would have been single for about, I would say, actually that particular breakup hit me pretty hard. I was pretty in love. I remember I went through this. I just went through just a phase where I just trained every single day, and I got down to about 79 kilos.
Whoa!
Which is I'm 100 now. And I mean, I was always quite fit, but I mean, I just turned it up to a whole new level of fitness there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I guess I'd use fitness as an avenue to sort of get rid of my heartbreak.
Did it help?
Yeah, it did. Because I was it fucked with my mental health a little bit. Because when you're like sad and heartbroken, most people, they'll go down the track and just taking drugs or getting on the piss and, just going through crazy benders. Whereas I'm the complete opposite. Like, I'll do that when I'm just in normal life. I mean, just drink, and then I'll just do drinking benders. And then, but when I'm like in a bad headspace, I know that. So I'll just stay off everything. Like, I won't drink, I won't do anything. I just train because it helps me a lot better.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's what I always give advice to my mates. I say, just stay off the piss. Just try and hit the gym because it'll actually help you a lot. And I'll probably have been single maybe for about a year after that, and I was quite fit. And that's when I got with Amy, who's my baby mama.
Yes.
And we were together for I think it was 5 or 6 years. So that was the way I met. She used to work at the nightclub at my local nightclub. And I used to harass her all the time, trying to get her number, but you never used to give me anything, never. But, she just finally cracked one day. She's like, all right. She only ever saw me drunk too, so I was like, when we caught up for a date, and I wasn't chatty like I normally am. She's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "I'm sober. I'm sober."
How old are you kids?
Sweet nothings into her.
How old are you kids now, Telv?
Maya is 6, going on 20, and TJ, she's such a woman. I can't even deal with her. But,
give me an example. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Oh, she's just so bossy and so sassy. Like what did she say? She said something because I remember Kate came over a couple of weeks ago to visit, and she gets along with the kids quite well.
Right.
So she what did she say to Kate? I fucking can't remember. She ended up hurting. I think she hurt herself or something like that. And Maya goes, "I told you not to do it. Like, I actually just told you not to do it, Kate." And she's like this, like with her hand, like, "I told you. Why'd you do it? Like, I literally just told you." And I'm looking at this kid like, "Are you right?" Like she sounded like an adult. And I was like, "Holy shit, this kid's like more responsible than me. Like, what the hell?" Like, she always just bosses me around and tells me to do this. But she's actually she's got the really good memory. Like, she's like, "Oh, TJ can't have that, Dad." I'm like, "Why?" She goes, "Because my mum said that he wasn't allowed to." And she said it, and it could have been weeks ago, but she remembers it. I'm like, "Oh, God, this kid, she keeps me honest, mate. I tell you, she never forgets anything."
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, literally. I can't bribe her with something and hoping that she'll forget, because she will not forget.
Yeah, she's too switched on. Too switched on.
No. So switched on. Complete opposite to my son, TJ. You tell him one thing and just straight out. Like, he's a typical boy. Like, in one ear, out the other. So,
how old is he again, Telv? How old's the youngest?
He turns 5 next week? What's the date today? On the 8th.
Cute.
Of December. But we're actually having his party this weekend because I'm going to be at work.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. I've got to pick up his cake on Friday, which is that's tomorrow. Yep, tomorrow. So I can't wait. He wanted to look at Mario.
Oh, cute.
Mario cake. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Got it last minute because I had a job. I was doing 3 weeks on, 1 week off, and she put the party on that roster, but then my roster changed because I got a new job, and so I wasn't going to be there, so we had to sort of rush around and change things at the last minute.
So, which one of your kids is most like you, do you think, Telv?
Oh, TJ. 100%. I remember when he met my nan for the first time last year or the year before, and my nan, 2 years ago, and my nan's just like, I feel like I've gone back in time 33 years. I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "You have no idea what this kid is like, what you were like as a kid." She was like almost in tears. She's like, "Oh my God, this kid is you." Like, honestly, she just could not believe it. She's like, "He looks like you, he walks like you, he talks like you." And I'm like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, I can't believe it." She just is such a spin out. It was really cute. And she loved him. Like, she just wouldn't they just bonded really quick. Like, she was just like, "Oh, have a look at him." Yeah, because she had met Maya before, but she hadn't met TJ. Because I obviously, all my family are back home, and it's hard to get them back because flights are expensive. So
correct.
Anytime I go home, it's normally for a wedding or a funeral or something. So I don't normally take the kids with me. But yeah.
And COVID hasn't really helped. That has
Yeah, well, there's and that as well. Like, I haven't been home. Fuck, it would be. I think since probably Christmas. No, I would January. I think. Yeah,
wow.
I was back there in January, so I haven't seen any of them for ages. So
Wow.
I want to go back and get my teeth done. I've got to go get my veneers all completely done. So I went and see Dr. D. Yeah, I've got to go get them not redone. I've just got to get them bolted in because I've got 2 front teeth. My 2 front teeth got knocked out playing footy years ago, and Dr. D, he replaced them for me. Fucking put big bolts in my mouth and screwed them in. So yeah,
Holy moly,
genius, that man.
So
Boys.
after you guys broke up, so your baby mama and you, was that a hard transition because you had 2 little ones?
That was probably the hardest time in my whole life, I reckon, because being a single dad scared the shit out of me.
Right.
I'd come home. Amy, she was a good mum. She's a good mum, and she'd always she was always there to sort things out. You know, as all women are, they always, they just do everything all the time, never complain about it. But you don't realise that when I sort of didn't have that anymore, it was really hard to adjust. Like I didn't have my own time anymore, so I guess adjusting to that was pretty hard. But also not having any family in Perth because it's just I got my kids and that's it. So when I'd fly home, it would just be us 3, and I was really nervous. Like it scared the absolute shit out of me because I'm like, fuck, I've got to cook everything, I've got to clean everything, which is at the time, I know that's just life, but at the time that's what was stressing me out. I'm like, am I even going to be able to? Yeah, am I going to be able to do this? I've got to take them to school, got to take them to daycare, I've got to dress them. And I mean, I was doing that anyway, but I always just had Amy to fall back on. She always just had that support, which was really good. But I guess it was a couple of months where I don't know, it just took a little bit to adjust to. And once I sort of did it a lot more and realised, what, fuck, this isn't, what am I stressing out for? Like, I love my kids. Like, I love the time I spend with them. Like, this is really not really good. Like, I can just do whatever I want with them. And I guess it just sort of got easier and easier as the more time I spent with them. So, but yeah, just initially, just at the start, like, I guess I got really anxious about it, and obviously dealing with the heartbreak, and then it was hard. It was definitely a hard time.
How do you deal with heartbreak as a parent? Do you have to compartmentalize that stuff? When you're with your kids, you just focus on your kids, and then when you're by yourself, that's when you deal with the heartbreak. How did you deal with it?
Yeah, I think having the kids there probably helped. I think because instead of just being alone and being, because I'm not a full overthinker, but once I get thinking, I can really disappear in my own thoughts, and it can be my own worst enemy. But I guess when I'm having my kids, I'm not even thinking about the outside world. I'm more worried about my son fucking climbing up on the bench and grabbing a knife or doing something stupid, because that's what I was thinking. Or is the doors locked? Can you get out? Because I'm like, these are all the things I've got to worry about now because I'm the only eyes in the house. Yeah. I've got to be watching them 24/7. Whereas before I had Amy, and she had kids before me. So they were all pretty helpful around the house and pretty helpful with the kids, So if they were out of your sight in a different room, you didn't have to worry too much, because they're all right. But when I was with them just on myself, I'm like, oh, fuck, where are they? Like, is there a window open? Have they climbed out a window? So I'm always worried thinking about that. So I guess they helped me move on and get rid of over the heartbreak because they sort of just made me focus on them rather than focus on what was going on outside of my family life.
Oh, that's good. That's really good. So I would assume then at the ages that they are now, you're not as worried about windows and doors and stuff like that being closed?
No, they're all right. They're pretty good. Maya, I don't have to worry about her doing anything.
She sounds responsible.
Like I said, she's a little woman. And she's also a little clinger, so she's very rarely not next to me. She's just she's my little, she's a massive daddy's girl. It's so cute. Like this, it'd be like she'll jump in the bed with me, right? And she won't be able to go to sleep unless she's touching me. So I'll be laying there, and then I'll feel her little foot like just sit on mine, and then I've always got to be close, so. Yeah. She's
very sweet.
She's always got to have a foot on me, or something. Got to be next to me, cuddling me. Like, she's just this sweetest little human being. Like, I just love her. Such a daddy's girl.
Oh, that's brilliant. So when she gets to teenage years and she starts talking about boys or girls or whatever, how do you think you'll proceed? Will you be an open parent and
look, I don't think so. I think I'm gonna. I don't know. It's giving me anxiety thinking about it. Like, I don't know. I just if somebody breaks my daughter's heart, I want to smash them. I just feel like, oh my God, you know. But that's just the part. That's just life, you know. You got to. Yeah. This is me trying to tell myself. I'm trying to talk myself into it now. I've just got to be like, oh, it's such is life. That's what happens, you know. But oh God, if my daughter comes home crying, I tell you what, I'll be marching down to school, I reckon. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to react, so I can't say. But I reckon I'll be reacting in a pretty angry fashion, I think. Oh, God.
So do you think you'll have, like, when she brings somebody home, do you think you'll have like a checklist? Like, right, you can't step into the house until you've answered correctly to all these fucking questions.
She won't even bring someone she won't bring a boy to my house. Okay. I guarantee it, she won't. Like, watch this space. There's no way she'll bring a boyfriend around.
Why?
Like, I don't know. I don't know. Unless, I don't know. I don't know. I just can't see it happening, you know? I think she'll know that I'll be too protective, and I'll be that father that will be like, just say something to make him feel uncomfortable.
Oh,
you know? I'll just be like, you know, I do the whole Vin Diesel one. What does he say on Fast and Furious? He goes, if you break my sister's heart, I'll break your neck. That'll be me. You hurt my daughter, I'll hurt you. Simple as that. All right, deal?
Everybody knows it's out in the universe now, Telv. So any future boys listening.
Oh, yeah, I'll be like, seriously, mate. No, don't even think about it. Plus, you've got to deal with all their uncles as well, and their aunties. Their aunties will probably bash them before I do.
Oh, man. Okay. So from that heartbreak with your baby mama, how long were you single for, and did you get into MAFS after that?
I was actually we broken up for about 9 months, 9 or 12 months. 9 months, 12. When was it? Yeah, it would have been about just under a year that I went on MAFS. Yeah, because I was dating and stuff, but because I'm FIFO, it is actually really hard to meet people because I was doing 2 weeks on, 1 week off. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and when I was coming home, like even like now, I come home and I'm picking up the kids from school on a Thursday, and then I haven't pretty much for the whole week. So it was kind of hard just to meet people. So
yeah, how do you do that then with that life? How does that happen?
Well, I guess that's why I went on MAFS. Okay. I ended up going on Married at First Sight. Yeah. And yeah, I guess fucking they pair you up with someone who's meant to be compatible, but obviously we know that's not true.
Yep. So what are your thoughts then on online dating? Have you tried it, Telv?
Yeah, I have been on it. Actually, I just posted, someone just sent me a
I saw that
today, but yeah, so I'm on it now, but I'm not, you know, because it was just a fake one though, so I thought that was pretty funny. But I have used them. I've normally used like Tinder and Bumble before. Obviously, because did you watch my season when I actually had the dating apps on my phone still by accident?
I think I remember
Sarah
that.
found them. Yeah. So I was using them before, and it was all right. But
Sarah found them. How did she find them? She went through your phone.
Yeah, and such a rookie mistake because they tell you before you go on the show you got to delete it all. But I had deleted the actual account. I just didn't delete the app. And so when she was, because what it was, I was giving her the phone to order Uber Eats, and she saw the Tinder thing. She's like, "Whoa, what's this?" I was like, "Oh no!" So yeah, I had used it, and it was all right. It's just hard because like when you're away, you'd be away for 2 weeks, and you try and talk to people, and you're like, "Oh yeah, we'll catch up when I'm home." And then you've got to sort of trying to catch up when you're home, but you know people work during the week, so now you can't really catch up so much during the week. then you might want to catch up on a weekend, and everyone's sort of out doing stuff. So it was just, it was always shit trying to set up a date when you're on FIFO.
Yeah, I never find those interactions because I've tried online dating and it just wasn't my jam.
Yeah.
After MAFS, what happened?
What happened? Oh, I just went dating. I did download. I downloaded Tinder.
Yes.
But I kept getting deleted. Like they kept deleting my account because they thought I was they thought I was a fake profile. Because they're like, and so then I end up emailing Tinder, and I was like, hey, like this is really me. Like, can you like stop deleting my account? So they end up giving me a free account for 12 months. So it was like open slather, It was like open slather, like, and then you could see who'd matched with you. And I think I was on there for about 1 hour, and there was like 800 people who'd swiped right.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it was this off MAFS. I'm like, have a look at this, and that was sort of probably my first taste of, wow, this is crazy. Like, cause obviously coming off the show, everything was just insane, and it was such a popular show. Like it was crazy to see when I was on like things like dating apps, and you just see all the people who were interested. It was just like, it was cool, overwhelming, but pretty cool at the same time.
So were you able to then work out who was actually interested for you or interested in who they thought you were from what they saw on the television?
Oh yeah. Well, it's always going to be hard to sort of decipher that. You don't know. But then again, I guess you've got to meet people and just sort of try and get a vibe off them. You can find out pretty quick when people are just trying to use you to sort of get on your social media and, or something like that. Or just trying to date the guy off TV. But I mean, I wasn't I wasn't interested in having a girlfriend or anything like that anyway. So it was. You could just tell anyway.
What advice would you give single people surviving the jungle of life?
I get this question a lot when I do Dr. Telv. Advice would just be just not like, I know it just depends. Like if you're struggling to find someone, or you're going through them, I know I've always just been quite reserved when I meet new people. Like I don't give everyone my full personality straight away. I just sort of get to know people, and then because with me, it's just like the version that you saw on TV, right? That's the version that I reserve for the people that I love in my life.
Yes.
Not everyone gets that version of me. Only the special people in my life will get that version. Otherwise, it's just like you're not the same as you are in front of your mum. So I'd say probably just be patient and don't. Sort of expect too much at the start, just sort of get to know people, and try not to be too judgy when you first meet people, because people can sort of look at someone and judge them straight away. Get to know somebody, and and let them get to know you before you sort of go jumping into a relationship, and then it fails in a couple of months, and you're hating life again.
Yeah. So, Telv, would you say that you believe in happy ever after? And what does happy ever after look like for you? What do you picture?
Definitely does. I mean, I love love. Like I think when you're in love, it's a beautiful thing, and it's just a different kind of happiness, I mean, I don't need a partner to validate my life, but they definitely do complement your life, and it's a different kind of happiness. So, I definitely do believe in it, and it's definitely something that I want. I don't want to grow old alone.
Yeah,
I want to sort of be with someone that I love. So, yeah.
Beautiful sentiments, Telv. Before I love and leave you, do you have any last little tidbits you'd like to give to our listeners?
Don't change for anybody. Just be yourself, because the right person is out there for you.
If you exist, so do they. That's what I believe. That's what I believe.
Yeah. That's good. That's a cute one. Hey, it's not bad at all.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Telv.
Thanks for having me, mate.
The Catch-A-Lorette with friends near and far, from heartache to catfish and sex toys. The Catch-A-Lorette and friends. See you next time if you dare.
Bank of the West is offering the 1% for the planet checking account. It gives back to the planet at no cost to you, and there's no monthly service charge with any deposit per statement. Only from Bank of the West. Learn more at bankofthewest.com/1%. Additional conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.